Hi, so today I'd like to show you our hot water solution. So this is for domestic hot water, not heating. We've got a separate system for that. So it's a little bit unusual. It seems to be working well for us, and I think it could work well for other people. So I'd like to share it with you. Essentially, it's a hot water cylinder with a heat pump on top, but how we're using it, I think, is the key to its success. We're now in the kitchen, as it is, not quite finished yet, but you might be able to hear a hum in the background. If you can, that hum is from the hot water heat pump we've got installed. It's just in the room next to me, so let's go and have a look at it. So here it is. Hum's definitely louder in here, and I've got the door open so you can have a look at it. We've built a cupboard around it to kind of hide it, and also to keep the sound down. So it's basically a hot water tank with a backup immersion heater, 1.4 kilowatts, and then on top is the heat pump, and you can see there's ducting there. One is an inlet and one is an outlet. The thing we've done here, which is a little bit unusual, is the ducting leads to the vent there. We've got a filter on it, that's where the air comes in, and then over there is where the outlet is, where the cold air comes out. So often when these are installed, and they're fairly popular on the continent and also in Australia, there's a couple of ways they're installed. One is the whole unit is outside in some kind of plant room and it takes air from outside, and the other is it's installed inside, but the inlet and outlet are vented to the outside, so it's basically using external air, and as any heat pump, it's taking the heat out of the air and using it to heat hot water, and then it's the cool down air is put out through another tube. I'm just going to close the door. Before I do, so we've put some leftover insulation materials there of various kinds, wood fibre and wood wall board, to try and absorb the sound. And I think I'm probably going to we've got some leftover cork sheet which I'll use on the back of the door to try and absorb a bit more of the sound, because the sound probably is the biggest disadvantage of it. So it's been pretty hot weather, so essentially what this setup has enabled us to do is to cool down our house when it's been unpleasantly hot. It is essentially an air conditioner, except the excess heat is going to heat our hot water rather than just to waste. So that's provided us with some really useful cooling during the hot days in the hottest ever May in the UK. So I think it can really help houses where overheating is a problem. Sighting obviously is going to be a key thing, because there is some noise. There's a couple of different ways we've been using it. So today's not super hot, it's a nice temperature. So when the house doesn't need cooling, often I will just open the window in the room, as you can see here, and that provides air for the heat pump to use. And then I can close the door, and then it's very quiet. I've got some decibel readings that I'll add in at the end. If we open the door, which is what we do when it's uncomfortably hot, we've got some surplus heat we want to use. In the main living area here, the sound isn't really too bad. It's a bit like a fridge sound, so I think it's fine. And upstairs, it's a lot less. So although the sound is an issue, it's something you might want to work around to get the other benefits. When it's running just on the heat pump, it's super efficient. So it draws about 400 watts. And I've kind of calculated for a day's hot water use for us. So that's, let's say, 1 bath, 1 batch of washing up, hand washing. It uses about 1.4 kilowatt hours of energy. We're lucky enough to have solar and a battery, so that energy is effectively free. But even if you're having to pay directly for your energy, that's pretty low. And if you can manage the noise within your household by whatever means you can, you could just run it on cheap nighttime electric and get some, you know, a pretty cheap way of heating your hot water. I think that's most of what I wanted to say. Seems quite a short video, but I will post some stats about the sound and some about the energy use. It's hard to be precise about the energy use because we don't have a way of recording the temperature of the tank. It only tells us the target temperature, so I can't do precise calculations of what the COP is, coefficient of performance, but I reckon it's somewhere in the region of 400% under these conditions. I should just add what we did last winter when we didn't have any surplus warm air and we didn't want to have the windows open, is it's got a backup immersion heater, as I mentioned, so we just used it overnight on the cheap tariff and used that to heat up our hot water. So if ever the noise is an issue, you can switch back to using it on the immersion, and as long as you know that could be a pretty good solution, but you get the kind of added benefit of having a potential highly efficient alternative way of heating your hot water, and also dealing with overheating in our increasingly warm summers here in the UK. I think that's it. Bye for now.